Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Naboo, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing excellent.
Hey, it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about something we talk about all of the times, but that we have to talk about today again. And a lot of people are going to be wondering, wait a minute. Why are you doing that, Egberto? Haven't you covered that subject before? To which I'm going to say, yes, I've covered that subject before, but guess what? Now more than ever, we have to cover it again. Folks, we are talking about Medicare for all, and there is some stuff
that affects me.
That affects you, that affects every single American citizen. And the thing about it is, right now what we're going through is we're seeing a whole lot of gamemanship. We're seeing a whole lot of playing about it, and we are seeing a whole lot of folks not taking it as it should. So my point today is to kind of lay things out, let people understand where we're at, let people realize a very important thing. Everybody that claims they want Medicare for all does not necessarily support Medicare for all. Everybody that's out there talking about Medicare for all, they're not your friend. And what I want to remind all Americans right now, specifically those with a stake, you, Naboo, everybody else in this place, is we have to remember that we have to stand up for ourselves. Because if we don't, guess what? Nobody else is standing up for us.
That's right.
Now, what happened is this. We won. When I say we, I'm talking about progressives. Notice I didn't say a party or anything of that nature. I said progressives won a huge. Progressives, listen to me here. You won a huge election. In the process of winning that election, we made promises. I don't know if you know this, Naboo, but this was the largest, bar none. This was the largest performance we had in an off-year election, bar none. We got the people to come out and vote. We got the people voting. And it wasn't the party. It was progressives hitting the road. And we made promises to these people that wouldn't have voted otherwise. We made promises and we told them, you know what, guys? You can trust us. Things are going to change. You can trust us. Believe us this time. A lot of these guys that ran off and either voted for Donald Trump or voted for Bernie Sanders, they came and they said, you know what? We're going to give politics one more shot. And in doing so, folks, we cannot disappoint them. In doing so, we cannot play some of the games that I see being played right now, specifically in Washington, D.C. But before we get to the program, Naboo, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing excellent.
You're doing excellent?
Absolutely.
And how is our new recruit, Lupita? How are you doing today?
She's right here.
Yeah, I'm doing good today.
You're doing good today. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
You're ready to go. Well, you know what that means? That means we're going, folks. Anyhow, what's the title of the show today? The title of the show today, I want folks to hear, and I want not only for you to hear, I want you to believe what I'm saying because we're serious about this. And it goes like this. A message to establishment Democrats. Stop playing games with Medicare for all or else ... Subtitle of the show. is the Democratic Party establishment better remember the masses want Medicare for all and not the health insurance and drug companies pilfering them. If they don't get it, all hell will break loose. And I am not saying this just out of, oh, all hell is going to break loose. Is that real? No, folks. I'm telling you. Folks came out to vote for a reason this time around. You don't get that volume of vote. And people can say, well, still there were more moderates voting. Look, the delta in those votes were people who we promise progressive values. Anyhow, coming through, we go as follows. The 2018 election had the largest midterm turnout in history. Americans are scared. Americans are broke. Americans are in dire straits. Our corporatocracy has been bleeding them dry, extracting their last disposable dollar to pay for every ever-increasing must-haves like housing, energy, and health care. In despair, many decided to try Trump. It is easy to just call it racism, stupidity, or simply ignorance. The traditional news media or elitist journalists will cater their studies and narrative to spurt that conventional wisdom. Oh, they are racist. Oh, they are this. Oh, they're that. Hey, a lot of that exists. We're not naive here. If one talks to enough people in a non-confrontational manner where a certain level of trust and comfort is developed, it is evident most Americans are searching for answers out of the economic morass of the masses. Everyone has failed them so far. Democrats, Republicans, and now Trump. When we went out there beating the pavement, when we started talking to people, you know what we told them? We said, hey, guys, we know you've given up on politics. You know you're throwing your hands up in the air. Let's try it one more time, folks. We are going to elect people who are going to really make a difference. We are really going to do it this time. That's what we made a promise. So we got folks to vote that's never voted before. We spoke to these people to their hearts, man. We said, hey, things are going to be different. Oh, the Democratic Party is the same as the Republican Party. It's what they would say. Oh, the established, they're all the same. Why bother? We said, no, man. We are electing progressives. And then we got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And then we got Ilmar Omar. And then we got all these progressives coming along, unabashed progressives. And then we started to continue to do the polls. And the polls said, yes, Americans, 56% want Medicare for all. And then it scared the insurance companies, so they formed an agency. Well, we're going to talk about that in the blog of the week, so I won't go there quite yet, my friends. I won't go there quite yet. But anyhow, everyone has failed them so far. Even Obamacare, while better than the status quo, was allowed to fail them as health insurance companies found ways around it to continue their pilfer. Folks, we can't let that happen. We can't let that continue. Now, we read that Nancy Pelosi staffer has told the health insurance industry they have no need to worry about Medicare for all becoming law. In other words, she is saying that the Democratic Party establishment is willing to choose to keep them whole instead of keeping their constituency whole. Really? Really? We will discuss this in the blog of the week. Oh my God, our internet is getting spurious with Wirecast. That's not good. But anyhow, before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig.
On Mondays at 3 p.m. Then we have, of course, Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and the crew.
And there's Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores.
On Tuesdays at 12 noon.
That's
and then
right.
the show after this is the one and only.
That's right. General Asian Radio with myself and the crew, Yogi, Alex, FX, Box, and PK.
Absolutely so, folks. That you got to listen to that show. That show is boss, folks.
I appreciate it.
That show is boss. Then we have, of course, really, but not really, a hip hop and R&B parody show.
That's right, with Marcel, and oh man, what does he go by? There's so many aliases in that show. I can't even keep up. But yeah, that's the show you want to check out.
Exactly, 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, and of course we have Border Radio. That's on
Thursdays from 4 to 6, and that's with Susan Darrow.
And we have Black on Both Sides, a public affairs program with the effort to highlight politics and public affairs in line with our individual and collective worldviews. Fridays, 12 to 2 p.m. on HD2.
That's right, with Gordon. So definitely check that out.
Check it out. Check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is listener-supported public community radio station. So please, 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 please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news programming and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. For those of you who are listening on our internet, yes, I'm so sorry that we're having some issues with the internet. What I'm going to try to do as I go along with the program is I'm going to try to see if somehow it's fixed. So if any of my good old internet guys are listening, remember, we all need to go ahead and have folks listen to our shows elsewhere. But folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, the weekly blog post. I don't want to say that it's depressing. Because, you know, folks, I never get depressed. So I won't say that the post is depressing. What I will say is that more so than ever, I am begging all of the listeners right now to remind you. There's something that Thom Hartmann has always says, right? And Thom Hartmann always says, democracy is not a spectator sport. I repeat, democracy is not a spectator sport. What democracy is, people, is democracy is something that you have to engage in. You have to continue to nurture it. You have to continue to be a part of it. Why am I saying this? Because right now, I'll be very frank with you. It is true that Democrats are playing games with Medicare for all. Specifically, the Democratic leadership is playing games with Medicare for all. And here's what we need to do. We need to be out there. We need to be out there telling these folks what we know is right. We need to be out there letting these folks know what has to occur. As Thom Hartmann, these aren't my words, these are Thom Hartmann's words, democracy is not a spectator sport. It is not a spectator sport. Anyhow, so here goes the blog of the week. Whoops, we went ahead and it got offline. I'm sorry about that, my friends. We are going to try that one more time. Okay, here it goes. Medicare for all. This is how they think they will kill it. We cannot let it. Again, this is how they think they're going to kill it, but we cannot let it. And it goes as follows. It is the war that few are speaking about. You hear about Medicare for all ad nauseum because new progressive legislators like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and old stalwarts like Bernie Sanders are keeping it in the psyche of every American and Democratic politicians. Here is the real story, however. Behind the scenes, the battle is fierce. The Democratic Congress is rewriting H.R. 676, the original legislation, the gold standard promoting Medicare for all. It is distressing that they gave up on the H.R. 676 number it has had north of 15 years, especially since there is a lot of literature and activism built around that number. One wonders if it is the beginning of a betrayal. According to Common Dreams, for the past 16 years, H.R. 676 was our gold standard bill defining a national improved Medicare for all single-payer healthcare system for the United States, said Margaret Flowers of Health Over Profit for Everyone. It was based on the 2003 Physicians Work Group proposed by Physicians for a National Health Program. I've interviewed them several times, I've also interviewed Miss Margaret Flowers. Now that the Democrats can no longer ignore that their base is demanding a single-payer healthcare system, we have lost both H.R. 676 by number and its status as the gold standard from what we had heard, as we have still not seen the text of the draft as promised, the new health bill being written by Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, a Democrat of Washington, has an unnecessary long transition period and maintains the for-profit providers in the system. The delayed transition means more preventable deaths and suffering. Keeping the for-profits means higher costs and lower quality. Jayapal's bill is being written behind closed doors. Last month, single-payer advocates called on Jayapal to share the draft text of H.R. 676 with single-payer movement for review and input. She has refused. Kay Tillow of Unions of Single Payer says that unless the movement acts quickly to assure H.R. 676 ban on for-profit institutions is maintained, Jayapal's new bill will remove this vital section of H.R. 676. Notice what they said. We must move. We must move now. We must move now, or else they will take that provision out of the bill. It's a compromise that there is no need to make, Tiller wrote recently. We are getting hearings in Congress. Why should we take the impact of that for profits out of the discussion before the debate even starts? We gain nothing. The ban on for profits has been on H.R. 676 since the beginning of it, and it did not stop 124. Congresspersons from signing on to it, or it didn't stop 124 congressmen from congresspersons from signing on to it. It did not stop unions, organizations, cities, counties, and many others from endorsing it. It was one of the popular provisions that all of those who have dealt with these for-profit hustlers welcomed. The threats are not only from within, folks. It's not only from within. America's healthcare future, a medical industrial complex ad hoc alliance of private healthcare interests, is going to be intentional in its attempt to destroy any possibility of Medicare for all. As I explained in the video below, and this is a video in the blog that I'm talking about, I said the following. They are currently putting two arguments into the ethos to see if it sticks. It is a job of activists to ensure the misinformation does not take hold. Please listen to the entire stuff that's in that blog. It's important that you listen to it, but here it goes. We will not get help from the media or from the establishments of the party. We will not get that at all. The plutocrats are using two arguments to kill Medicare for all. The first is that it will cost so much that your taxes will go up. The second is that you will lose your private insurance. Both statements are true with some very important caveats, and I explain that very in detail in the video. But in short, taxes will go up, but you will no longer pay any health insurance premiums, and every American will have medical coverage from birth to death. You will be left with more money in your pockets because in addition to no insurance premiums, you won't have deductibles, co-pays, and out-of-network costs. You won't have to worry about, if you're an elder person, you won't have to worry about that donut hole people have to buy. You won't have to worry about the Part D things you have to buy. You won't have to worry about any of that anymore. The original idea is to get rid of health insurance companies. They do not provide health care. They restrict health care to make passive shareholders a profit and overpaid executives an undeserved large salary. Folks, it's a scam. Now, we have to make it clear to every Democrat we got elected And we have to make it clear to every independent in there, and we have to make it clear to every thinking Republican. Medicare for all or bust. We cannot continue to move our wealth to people who have not earned it. We cannot continue to give health insurance companies monies that are undeserved. Remember, they provide absolutely. And I like anybody who can give me a reason to have a health insurance company to give me a call and discuss that. Anybody who is listening to me right now who believes there is a reason to have a health insurance company, please give me a call. Because there is, in my strong opinion, mathematically speaking, there is none. So we have one call on the line, and we have many lines open. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Let me go to line one. Come on in, Scott.
Thank you. Different subject.
Yes.
You know why I want to decriminalize marijuana?
Well, I imagine for health benefits, maybe?
No.
Why?
Well, that's not my principal argument. In fact, that argument is not particularly important to me.
Okay.
The criminal justice industry is too big. Marijuana is a front line in this conflict. Abortion is also a front line.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
I wish the marijuana people and the abortion people would join hands against an oversized criminal justice industry. I don't see that. In fact, I know of some people who are anti-abortion who belong to the Drug Policy Forum of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I think the criminal justice industry is unified on wanting more criminal laws, wanting more prisons.
Right.
I don't think the opposition is quite so united. And, I think a good part of winning a political argument is setting the terms of debate.
Right.
So I am trying to reset the terms of debate in terms of an oversized criminal justice industry. And I might as well say what my personal stakes are. I probably have friends who use marijuana. I don't really know which ones. Also, well, now I gave up alcohol in 1985, and I've not wanted to get into the habit of other substance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I don't do very much, usually as a novelty in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And I was last in Amsterdam in 2009. So I don't think I have a great personal interest in cannabis. I don't exactly have a personal interest in abortion either. I do not think I will ever make another man pregnant. And the women I know, I think they're all past that age.
That was so funny, Scott. Thank you very much for your call. As usual, you always have something insightful to say, my friend.
Well, thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to line two. Come on in, Tag.
Hey, Egberto, how you doing?
All right, my friend. Talk to me.
When we had the ACA come online,
Mm-hmm.
we were told that if everybody had health insurance, and that's why they put the clause in there, if you didn't, you're going to have to pay a penalty, right?
Right.
That it would help to bring down the cost of insurance for everybody.
Yes, we were told that, all right.
And what happened is that because of the way the politics work, not everybody was covered.
True.
So, and I don't think people with insurance understand that their insurance is higher because they're actually covering the uninsured as it is with their insurance policy.
Exactly.
And so, therefore, if everybody was actually insured, like Obama tried to educate us, to, if we could get everybody insured, health costs would come down. Our health insurance, our health institutions, doctors and hospitals and stuff would actually be better paid because they wouldn't be scrambling to try to make a buck someplace.
Exactly.
And this is a thing that these people, a lot of these people don't seem to understand, that they're actually paying more because they don't want to pay.
Let me interrupt you a second, Tag, for one reason, right? And say it this way. I put less, and Stephanie, I'm coming to you next, and of course Lucy and Mark. But anyhow, let me go ahead, and folks, please keep calling 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. Let me say this. I want to take some blame. I want all of us to take some blame. The media, the mainstream media, has been effectively used by the plutocracy to fool people into believing that there is a reason for health insurance companies. There's a reason for things called managed risk and all that kind of crap. And that's why I wanted somebody to call in who believed there's a reason for having health insurance so that we could have a civil conversation on that issue. But Tag, I have to run if you don't have anything else to add to Stephanie.
Yeah, just one thing real quick, and an allergy. Yeah. Anyway, we visited some of the national parks. Without the people of the United States getting together and supporting things like national parks or like a healthcare system,
right,
we are not going to all benefit because of the fact that it's such a draw on a few individuals who are paying.
Right.
Whereas if we could all get together and participate in a system and pool our resources, we'd all have a much better system. And I think people need to understand it's what I view as a socialized society.
And you know what? We are going to get there, but what we have to do, Tag, is we have to do a lot more communicating, and that is my aim with Politics Done Right. My aim
You're
with
doing
politics.
a great job. Thanks. I'll let you go, Alberto.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
kindly,
day.
my friend. You have a great day. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Okay, let's go to Stephanie. Come on in, Stephanie.
Hi, this is Stephanie. I used to try to sell health insurance. Didn't work out too well.
What happened?
Well, my market was for self-employed people and small businesses.
Yes.
Now, people that work in big corporations, like I had worked for in the 70s and early to mid 80s, we had excellent health care. Now, there were co-pays, and
right.
There were those deductible things. Deductibles, but there was my monthly
co-pay
payment.
Deductibles, and also there's this other thing where you have the limit that you have to reach. Yes.
Oh yeah, I was going to get to that. Anyway, while I worked for big corporations, then I had good health insurance. In the 2000s up till 12, I had reasonably good health insurance. Although each year it got a little bit less and less,
right.
Paid more and more. But what I tried to sell was to the small businesses. Now, contrary to popular belief on some people, most small businesses are not making all that much money.
Exactly.
Half of them fail within 6 months.
Exactly.
And then half of those fail within a year, and then very few of those survive 5 years.
Right.
Yet small businesses supply most of the jobs,
right.
And most of the people, including the owners for the most part, don't have health insurance.
True.
It is an externality. They're gambling and hoping and praying and whatever that they don't get sick, because
right.
they're one illness away from bankruptcy.
Sure.
Now, had I been able to sell the health insurance enough to actually make money myself, I would have only had to sell about 2 policies per week, and I would have made about $50,000.
Think about that, my friend. I want you to really think about. I know that's good for you, but think about what that really means.
Well, I know. Basically, I couldn't do it because there weren't enough people who could afford it.
Right.
I would have made $50,000 a year in $1992, which was more than I had ever made
right.
in real dollars at any time. I couldn't do it when I made the presentations. I was talking to poor people. I was talking to middle-class people that had nice houses, nice cars, but no insurance policy.
Right.
It was not in the budget.
Right.
Something had to give, and that's what gave. Now, I also want to talk about death panels. They exist, but they weren't what the Republicans were talking about.
Explain that. I know exactly what you're going to say, and I'm glad you brought that up. So please do it, my friend.
Those are the people who work inside the health insurance companies and are practicing medicine without a license.
Thank you.
They approve or disapprove everything, and they dispute everything. The last health insurance that I had, which was reasonably good, I would get treated. I'd present my insurance card. I would get my treatment, and I would pay whatever they told me.
Sorry to tell you this, was kind of speeded up for me because our lines are full.
I'm getting there.
Yes.
I would pay the copay and everything was good because they had contacted the health insurance company, and they had their part and I had my part and everything. But then I would get charged again. They would dispute things.
Yes.
They also disputed prescriptions. The doctor would say, well, we need you to take prescription A, and then I would get something later on that said from the health insurance company saying, we're not going to pay for prescription A anymore. We want you to take prescription B.
Right.
And that happened time and time again. And like you were saying before, you pay now or you pay later.
Mm-hmm.
And we are paying more now than we would under socialized medicine and higher taxes for it.
Yes.
An analogy is the cost of keeping a person in prison, which is a separate issue, but the cost of keeping them is greater than the cost of sending a potential prisoner to graduate school.
And that is intelligent realization, my friend.
So you pay one way or the other. You can either keep people in prison, or you can give them education, or you can give them health care, which we pay for, through taxes, or you get sick and pay more in the final years of life, or you pay for it by mothers that don't get prenatal care, and then their kids get brain damage when they're young, and those are your next crop of criminals.
Stephanie, you're absolutely right. I got to go. You made some very valid points, and thank you so kindly for making those, my friend. You have a wonderful day, okay?
Same to you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to Lucy. Lucy, line number 1. Come on in.
Hi, thank you for listening to me. I fully agree with you that we need to do something and get rid of the insurance companies. Mm-hmm. I've been in the medical industry for 25 years and have seen what has happened with insurance companies throughout the years. But what I would like for you to inform us with is how do we plan to pay for this socialized medicine?
It's very...
I'm
so happy that, because that is what we really need to get to, right? The media has been used by the plutocracy, by the rich folks, by the wealthy, to make give the impression that you could not tax enough of the income of wealthy people to pay for all the things that society needs, right? And they'll say, and it is correct. They are absolutely right, because what we have decided in this country to call income has been minimized for rich people. In other words, capital gains is not called income as the same kind of taxable income as the incomes that you make on wages. So there are a lot of different incomes that aren't taxed, right? So here's the deal. Here's how we're going to pay for it. Number one, let's remember that when we pay premiums right now, what we're doing is we're paying 80% maximum towards health care, and 20% is a transfer of wealth to the owners of the insurance companies, to the executives who get paid, to the advertising budgets and all that kind of stuff. If you have single payer Medicare for all, that amount of money off the top, 20% is saved immediately. And it's really more, because the thuggery within the insurance company knows how to knows how to call things expenses that aren't, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one savings, number one. Number two, that money that we're calling increases in taxes, they're correct, we are going to pay a lot more taxes. It's going to be less per person for the premiums. In other words, if you were paying, let's say, $3,000 or $4,000 per person in premiums, it's not going to be what you're going to pay as a regular citizen, because it's going to be graduated. If you make a little bit of money, we may have a cap that says, I don't know, 7%. The maximum anybody is going to pay in income, in their income for healthcare is 7%. The maximum. I'm just giving a number off the top of my head. But what I'm saying is, we're not going to make healthcare a burden to your possible success anymore. Everybody's going to have a stake in it, and that stake is whatever you can afford. And everybody would be covered. Now you say, but wait a minute, wouldn't there be a shortage of money? Absolutely there will be a shortage of money. But guess what we do here? Do you own a home, Lucy?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you know that you have a wealth tax, Lucy?
Yes, I do.
Your wealth tax is your home. Thank you for knowing. Your wealth tax is your home. So the only people that get all these benefits in society right now are wealthy people, because they can sit down on billions of dollars of wealth, and while, Lucy, you pay a tax on your wealth every year, they don't. Why? Why is it that you have to pay a wealth tax and they don't? Because they purchase politicians. We need to have a wealth tax, and guess what that does? If you take a look at where our wealth is, Over 90% of our wealth is in the hands of less than 50,000 people. So you go ahead and you apply a wealth tax, and you every year, and you more than pay for the necessary health care plus whatever we have to put in ourselves. You also pay for more schools. You also pay for more roads. There is so much that gets done when you don't allow folks to just permanently hoard money that doesn't get recirculated back into society. And these are simple tenets, right? And these are, and here's the other thing for those people who are saying you're taxing the rich and you're taking away their worth, or you're taking away what they've done for society. Let me ask folks to postulate one thing. Jeff Bezos is worth $160 billion. Wrong. He didn't make that money. Every single one of his employees made that money. The $160 billion that you see, we have to change the way we think. We were taught by the narrative placed by the rich people in the media that they earned it. They did not earn it. We earned it, and what they have is the excess that they didn't pay us for what we've earned for them. We have to start remembering that we are the engines of the economy, not them. We are.
Correct. I agree with you fully. Thank you so much for that wonderful explanation.
Thank you so kindly, Lucy. You have a wonderful day, okay?
The same to you.
Sure. Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to Mark. Mark is line numero 3.
Howdy, Egberto.
I'm great, my friend. Talk to me.
Awesome. So I just was wondering, maybe like a little factor for why, we are still paying into this model of having a health insurance company is because of just the sheer volume of healthcare insurance employees and how they do pay taxes. I heard you mentioning that there are certain people that don't pay certain types of taxes, but the sheer volume of just paper filing employees, secretaries, admin, salesmen,
right?
Like that's still a lot of tax revenue coming from the sheer volume of employees. So, and no president really wants to be that job killer that throws away, what is it? I don't know. I honestly have no idea how many people are employed.
I am so glad you brought that up. You see, and these are the reasons we need these discussions on air, honestly, as opposed to what you're going to get on ABC, CBS, NBC, or whatever. Because your question, Mark, is such a very important question. Because if we give everybody insurance and we leave a couple million people destitute because now they're jobless, what have we done? We've just created a new set of people that are not able, that are in dire straits, which is something we don't want. So you're absolutely perfect in thinking that what's going on there. So here's the answer, my friend. H.R. 676 had provisions in that law. That is a Medicare for All law to mitigate exactly that. Those people would get paid. Those people would get paid to be retrained. Those people would get sustained for X amount of time until they're absorbed into this new economy. What I'm postulating something else because we are going to re-extract what was extracted from us. Let me give an example. Remember, I said that what we do is we go ahead and we tax wealth as a part to help pay for this, right? When wealth is sitting, they like to give the people like to give this false narrative that somehow wealth, the wealthy guy goes ahead and he reinvests this money and create jobs. It's a lie. We could look at what occurred in the when all the taxes were given back to the rich folks with the tax cut scam that Donald Trump did. What occurred? They simply had stock buybacks, which increased the capital gains on the stocks, which means we brought back money, increased the income of the wealthy, but because it was increased as a form of capital gains, we got less taxes than if they simply paid it as dividends. And you know what? They didn't even invest it into the economy to create more jobs or anything. So, I mean, we have to be honest here. The reality is rich people stock their money away, and their best investment is not the United States. We are tapped out as far as being able to create much because we don't have any more buying power. So they're going to invest somewhere else. There are growing markets in China. There are growing markets in South America. There are growing markets in Africa. So that's where they put their money. So we have to be honest and realize America is tapped out. They don't care. They just look at America as a safe place because we have a great military to protect. If somebody ripped them off in Venezuela, we just send the army to Venezuela to take it back. That's what we do. So we have to understand that. So anyway, as far as your original question was, what happens to all those unemployed? We are going to take care of them. We are not going to leave them destitute.
So my question then, you're saying HR 676 would, pay people in the lieu and retrain them.
Right.
But like the collapse and the creation of a new organizational hierarchy
Mm-hmm.
and the restructuring that's going to go along with it, it kind of makes me think about like words and what words are socially acceptable
Mm-hmm.
in society. And it's kind of like, we don't just say, hey, this word is no longer socially acceptable, and everyone immediately starts believing it.
Right.
It's kind of like society adopts it, and that's whenever it actually takes effect, and people just quit saying those words.
Yes.
So even if we do collapse these companies and create new ones and retrain them, like to what extent is that like feasible? Like, is that, to what extent could that possibly work? Just because there's a law where the number of people in your organization, it's like the square of that number of people are the total people that are doing the work. So if you have 10 people at your company, like 3 people are doing a lion's share of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And to embed that into a new system where there's that much leniency, I don't think it's going to be as smooth and happen as fast as we would like to believe.
I'll take
your answer off the air, so thank you for your time.
Thank you so kindly, Mark. Okay, Mark, let me tell you, I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be smooth, and you're absolutely right about that. But let me tell you, who says that we only do things that are easy or what is smooth? That is the problem that I have a lot of times with our democratic establishment. They usually start from a place that they think it's okay to start from, as opposed to saying, let's do it hard and let's go ahead and get it done. My contention is as follows. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But you know what is also hard? Whenever we say we are going to have a war, we can mobilize for a war. We can go into a hyper gear to mobilize for a war. Our healthcare system has been in shambles for a long time. You want to mobilize for that? Call it a war a war against the lack of healthcare, a war against bad healthcare. Make it a war, because it seems like that's what we like, wars. So we make it a war. But the thing about it is this: we should stop it. And we should stop it right away. I don't remember the name of the journalist on TV who said, we can't do this stuff piecemeal. And this is a fairly conservative, liberal guy. He said, conservative guy on the liberal side is what I meant. He said, this time we can't just do it. We have to do it. And I understand what he's saying as well. Because here's the deal. If we talk about that piecemeal thing like we did with Obamacare, what did the insurance company do? They had the loopholes in there that still allow them to sell sham insurances for 364 days a year. In other words, you can have a sham insurance that has a validity of 364 days. One day you're without it, and then you buy it again for 364 days. And then it doesn't have to conform to Obamacare. There are all these kinds of loopholes in there to really screw people up. I'm coming to Johnny. Johnny, come on, line 6.
Oh, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. In keeping with the spirit of your opening, very righteous and way overdue warning or ultimatum to the leadership of the Democrats. I have my populist version of the State of the Union.
Yes.
That I think will trump, no pun intended. But I want to open up with a quick rhetorical question for Donnie.
Yes.
Donnie, I know you don't listen to KPFT, but I know some of your staff probably monitor alternative media. So let's see, you're a one-pager, you love Fox TV, and to stuff your pie hole with fast food while tweeting all day. How are you qualified to tell anybody what the State of the Union is, you moron? Now here's my State of the Union.
Let me hear it.
Here we go. Suicides are up, refugee children in prison camps, food banks in airports to feed government workers, so-called Catholic students disrespecting Native Americans, elders, charter schools across the country stealing taxpayer money and dumbing down kids. What else? We've got border guards dumping jugs of gallon drinking water onto the desert floor with broad smiles. And we've got a belligerent foreign policy team who's just itching to make war on Cuba and or Venezuela and threatening Iran. Unbelievable. And we've got a guy in the Oval Office who doesn't know or doesn't want to or doesn't know how to negotiate honestly, earnestly, in good faith with the Democrats. So, we're tired of all this winning, Donnie. You're fired.
I like the way you ended with "you're fired." Hey, look, I hear you. I hear you, Johnny, and I think that's a good State of the Union for El Señor Trump. So, anything else you want to add, my friend?
Yeah, folks, after you listen to his so-called State of the Union, be sure to watch both Stacey Abrams and Bernie's reaction afterwards. Contrary to some people in liberal media like Stephanie Miller, Bernie is not stepping over Stacey Abrams. His address is scheduled to follow hers. Let's keep it real, folks, and let's not shoot on each other on our side. We don't have enough soldiers to begin with. Have a good day.
Yeah, wait, Johnny.
Yeah.
Listen to me. That last statement, repeat it.
I said Stephanie Miller, even though she tries to be funny, and sometimes she is, she shoots our side down by erroneously reporting that Bernie Sanders is going to deliver his reaction to Donald Trump's so-called address at the same time as Stacey Abrams. Not true. His statement is going to follow Stacey Abrams's.
Thank you. And that, folks,
let's keep it real,
that.
folks. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Johnny. We have to stay together, people. Progressives have to stay together. I disagree with a few progressives on quite a few things, but I've always said I will always have their backs. Always. Brad, come on in, my friend.
Hey, how are you, Alberto?
I am fine, my brother. Talk to me.
All right. I want to talk about, Medicare for all. But first, I thought everybody got straightened out about what happened with those Catholic boys and that American Indian. Mm-hmm. He's not, I am a Native American. You are a Native Panamanian. Mm-hmm. Okay? So anyone born in America is a Native American. But this guy's an American Indian. He confronted those Catholic students. Mm-hmm. Johnny's wrong, but he only listens to one side. Okay? That is just true. Okay, that's why, and he's not a Vietnam vet, like, people, he said he was or didn't deny it.
Brad.
He was a Vietnam vet.
Brad,
error.
Let me talk real quick. I just want to bring that up a little bit because there's a lot of misreporting on that particular issue, okay? But
the reality is that it was those black trash people. That's what they were. Wait. The black
Brad,
Israelites that were calling those kids.
Brad, I made you speak. Can you let me respond to
products of incest, and then they just did that Maori dance that all these high school football teams do, and then the Indian was banging the drum and got in the face of that kid. Okay.
Brad, my favorite conservative. Brad, hold on. Let me talk.
But I'm not a conservative. I'm a George Will conservative, not this crazy Trump crap. Okay.
Brad,
I'm not. I'm not John Birch Society 2.0.
Brad,
okay.
Stop it. Let me talk to you, okay? All right, let's go. Brad, I understand that a lot of people have different views of what occurred with the children out there in D.C. from the Catholic school. I'm going to tell you my view. You've expressed your view, and that's what this show is for. Everybody gets a chance to express their view. Those kids had MAGA hats on. MAGA hat has a meaning. Maybe it doesn't mean anything bad to you, but it sure as hell mean a hell of a lot to me. And not only did they have MAGA hats on, the tomahawk, chants, and all the things that they were doing, they were not innocent kids. They were doing a lot of bad things, not only on racial things, not only on indigenous things, but on women things and quite a few other things. So, look, there is a 2-hour video. You can watch it yourself and see what's going on. So I don't want to talk about that anymore, but what I want to talk about is you wanted to talk about healthcare.
I have a MAGA hat is because I ran out of toilet paper. Okay. So there's my position on that.
All right, okay. Look, talk to me about healthcare.
People like Medicare, correct?
Yes.
And you know the reason why?
Why?
It's the same reason why, according to the government, Medicare is going to have 11% deficit by 2029.
Okay.
And the reason why is because the typical person who gets Medicare, according to, it's not what I pulled. I didn't pull this out of anybody's rear end. It's apparently the truth, according to a study just recently, I believe. The typical recipient of Medicare puts in only 30%.
Okay.
Okay? So my question is this, Egberto.
Mm-hmm.
How do you afford a system? How does something survive when you're only paying 30% out of 100%?
All right, let me tell you how.
It catches up
sure,
to you. It doesn't matter what it is.
No.
Okay, now you want to do Medicare on steroids.
Okay, Brad. Okay,
yes.
You made your point, and let me answer your question first of all. You see, you have to do a little bit more, a deeper thinking, and I explained that to Lucy earlier, and I wish you were on the line, so you should have heard my explanation. Okay, and let me go as follows. And first of all, this is very important. Your statistic that Medicare is going to be underwater by 11% is not accurate, but let's live with that. I'll postulate to that just for the sake of this argument or this discussion. But let me tell you further about the statement that you make about people only putting in 30%, right? Now, if you have a group of Americans, a very small group of Americans, hurting capital more so than anybody else. In other words, if you take a look at income distribution and if you take a look at capital distribution, what the people in the upper 2% or whatever, they make so many orders of magnitude greater than that person that you claim only paying 30%. I am surprised they actually pay that much, 30%. I'm surprised at that. The reality is we have such a disparity in how income and wealth is distributed in this country that 30% is probably the best they could ever do. However, the money is actually there. When you add the aggregate economy, if you add the aggregate economy and extract what healthcare costs, you would see that the money is there. The problem is that our capitalist system does not equitably distribute money based on worth. It distributes money based on an immorality, extraction. What do I mean by that? Hold on. Listen to me. Listen to me now. You asked the question. A stockbroker that moves money around makes orders of magnitude more money than the teacher who taught him the math to move that money around. And I can go from issue to issue. An engineer who designed the chip makes orders of magnitude less than the shareholders who own the stock in the chip maker. We have a distorted view of who deserves what. And until we recalibrate that reality you just talked about is only mitigated through taxation to redistribute. And you say, Brad.
Mm-hmm. I like Elizabeth Warren, what she's saying. Mm-hmm. I'm not against 70% tax.
So we don't have a problem, sir.
Higher money. I'm not against a 2% luxury tax.
Brad,
I am not
so
against
we have
that,
no
okay?
problem. Brad, stop right there, because you know what you're telling me? You are sensible, and not only are you sensible, Brad, but you actually see the big picture. You know what you're fighting with, my brother? You are fighting with your George Will ideology and reality. The reality portion is what you really believe in your heart. But the ideology portion is really hitting you hard, brother. You are my brother, and you need to come out here and sit down and chat, brother. Anything else you want to add?
One more thing real quick.
Yes.
You say that healthcare is a right, though, correct?
You bet your damn life I said that.
But do I not have a right to decide where my money goes?
No.
Didn't we fight this
let me
revolution,
explain that to you. Again,
called taxation without representation?
Yes, I believe that.
Can't I have politicians to represent me on where I want my taxes to go?
Yes, sir. Let me qualify this answer for you.
And this is what I want. I would like to have a say that if
you
want if you want to be on welfare, I got no problem if you don't have a job, okay?
You do.
Pick up cans up and down the street. Pick up a trash.
Sir?
Make my
Brad.
I want to get some value out of the money that I'm giving you, okay?
Yes.
You know, I have no problem if Egberto gets hit by a drunk driver. But if you're the drunk driver, you know, TFB, suck it up, bitch, okay? I'm just telling you. Okay. You caused that.
Be careful.
All right?
Be careful. But okay, Brad, listen to me good, okay? There's not a disparity here, okay? I want people to work, but in a society, you're gonna have 1% of this population, or a little bit less, that just are gonna be bombs. We don't make policy for the exception. We make policy for the rule. And you asked the question, I don't have control over my money? You have control over a portion of your money, but all of your money really ain't yours. And you said, and that is what we taught all the wrong things in school when it comes to business. I had on my Politics Done Right daily yesterday, I had a great guy, PhD from that used to teach at Harvard University. He got his master's and PhD at Stanford. And he told me, wow, we have so much in common. And you know what? I want you to go to politicsdoneright.com and listen to that show. I got to let you go, Brad, because I got to run real quick with Tori. So thank you so kindly, brother. Okay, let's go to Tori. Come on in real quick, Tori.
Hi there. Couple of points. But first up, as much as I enjoy disagreeing with people, you're probably the only person I agree with 110%. Keep up the good work. Go national. You know, we need to get you on all the places where Tom Hartman is across the whole network. And,
thank you, brother.
But then 2 points. One is about the AMA, and the other is about elective surgery. And so we'll start with martial arts. First thing they teach you in martial arts, somebody's coming at you, get out of the way.
Right.
You don't just stand there and try to stop them.
Right.
Okay, the first thing that's going to come up with national health care, whatever, Medicare for all, is, you know, a lot of people can say, oh, well, we don't want to pay for abortions, and we don't want to pay for elective surgery or penis augmentation. And it's like, fine, you know, table that stuff. Anything that they disagree with, you know, table it for 5 years until people are used to getting their medical bills paid for.
I love what you have
and
to
just
say.
go with the stuff that everybody agrees on, diabetes and cancer and heart attacks. Pay for that stuff. And then we'll, you know, get the penis enlargements later. Okay? And then the second thing is the AMA.
Yes.
They were the ones, they're the biggest lobby. Some people think it's the oil or the military or whatever lobbyist. The
Real
AMA,
quick, brother, I only have a
doctors, they are the biggest lobby in this country, and they get what they want. And it wasn't the insurance companies fighting Obamacare as much as it was the AMA. You know, they are the ones. And they're mostly liberal people and progressive and scientific and rational folks. And they didn't want to be, you know, have money taken out of their pockets. And basically, doctors, for the most part, with their extra money, invest in medical equipment companies and, you know, for-profit medical stuff. And, you know, that's going to get hit if things are, you know, nationalized or, you know, Medicare for all.
And you know what, brother?
So
thank you.
That's going to be anyway.
Thank you very much, Tori. I got to go. Okay, I have one quick call that I got to pick up and then I go. Okay, caller, you have 15 seconds. Caller, you got 15 seconds. You're on air.
Hello?
Yes, 15 seconds, real quick.
Your Periscope is having issues. There's no audio.
Yes, I understand that. I'm so sorry about that. We've had internet problems all day. Thank you for calling in, though, my friend. You have a wonderful day, okay? We'll be right back up tomorrow, and it'll be working tomorrow. Thank you so kindly. Okay, folks, look, thank you so kindly for listening to our show today. We have a lot of work to do. We can't wait for these politicians to do Medicare for all, because if we just sit back and hope that they do the right thing, they won't. What I'm begging of you, what I'm asking of you folks is the following. We need you to continuously call them and tell them this is what we need you to do. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. We are fighting to make sure that things are done right. And you know how I end this, baby? I am out.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.